I'm Patrick Alfieri, and this evening I'm speaking with Cherry Oakley. Cherry is the visionary and driving force behind the Presbytery of New Brunswick's Justice Concert, a showing of musical and artistic works that recognize, reckon with, and respond to our deep hunger for social justice. The Justice Concert will premiere on YouTube this Sunday, January the 17th.
Jerry, thank you so much for speaking with me tonight. My first question is this: how did the Justice Concert come into being? Where was this idea born?
Technically speaking, it was born on the front seat of my car. I was actually coming back from Power Walk with a friend. I Power Walk since this pandemic has started. I've been trying 4 days a week, going out and just trying to like get out and move and just be out and smelling the fresh air and all that stuff like that. But
Yeah.
had come back from that and was sitting in my car just having like a moment and thinking about, it was in July, and I was thinking about how we had thought, we had this pandemic thing happening, and I'm in a household, we're following all the rules and doing all the things, and thinking that this would just kind of be over, and it was going on and on and on. So it started in March and we're now in July, and I'm thinking, man, like this is not ending and we don't really see an end to it, and it just feels like there's something we're supposed to be learning here. And what is it that we're learning? Like, what could we possibly be missing, getting wrong, that this is continuing on? um, and what should we be kind of taking out of this to kind of be reflective? It's just kind of where my mind goes when it kind of seems to be kind of turning over and over again in the same kind of problem or issue. We can't seem to have any movement forward. And so I was listening to the radio, and there was an artist who was had been writing and composing during this these two pandemics, right? I think I've heard it described as the pandemic of COVID-19 and the pandemic of 1619, and I thought, yeah, that's exactly it. And we're still here, and what should we be getting out of this? And kind of simultaneously on Monday mornings, I was sitting with a group of people where we just our our conversation is all centered around what is happening in our current time, and where's the gaps, and where can we fit into those gaps. So not to do what everybody else is doing, but to try to actually connect with people and support people, our neighbors, our brothers and sisters that are all around us, with what with those helping systems aren't there to provide that support. And in kind of thinking about those things together, it's just starting to think, the for us to be able to figure out our way out of this, our way forward, what are we supposed to be doing on this kind of forced break that we're having, where we're examining our relationships and the things that we believe and we value, and how we are together, and what we're doing and what we're not doing, and all those things. Like we start um, thinking about kind of putting those things together, thinking, we really need like a mirror, something that holds up in front of us and interprets for us what this is, what we're supposed to be taking away from it, and so that we can use that to start to step into the next best version of ourselves, to to come together and get done what needs to be able to get done together. And trying to think about who does that. In our society, like artists do that. I believe that every one of us has creativity in us. Some of us spend more time kind of nurturing and stoking that as you kind of go along, but the artists among us, throughout time, have always held a mirror up to us, and had us look at what exactly is happening, sometimes in very raw ways and sometimes in really lyrical ways, but do so in some universal languages. I think about that kind of there's four universal languages, and one of those is music. So, no matter, even if we don't share the common tongue, if we are, music is something that can help all of us that are listening to it kind of feel the same way and understand and interpret what's happening around us through music that helps us to kind of move and connect. And so I was, thinking, that's it. Like if we were able to come together in a space and have a joint experience, and we use a universal language that was going to be able to connect us and hold a mirror up to us and interpret for us, or even just to speak in real plain language, how um, someone is experiencing now. So we don't have to guess or interpret or go like, well, pontificate like, oh, I think this is how, this is what this means, etc. Because we're always like really good for doing that, right?
Yeah, sure.
Um, but if someone could speak to us directly and say, here's how I am affected. Here is my despair. Here's my lament. Here's my hope. Here's how I see things. Here are how things are affecting me. Then we could take that and we could figure out how to use that to be able to move forward in all of this stuff that's in front of us. And so, as I started kind of talking with people and mentioning, hey, what if we, created a space where, artists would be able to come and share, the impact of what is happening now, these issues around social justice. It started off as very concentrated, all, specifically on the two pandemics, but then, really what these pandemics have kind of revealed is the stuff that was already there, but it got exacerbated, in our isolation and in just how these pandemics are affecting absolutely every single one of us, not just certain segments of us, as disasters oftentimes do, just affect certain segments of people. These pandemics are affecting all of us simultaneously. A, we're having a joint experience in this. So that if we had a way to be able to let that happen, then we've got a chance to figure out what we need to be doing differently, or at least to acknowledge each of our lived experience as authentic and real and something to not be brushed aside or discounted, but something that we could recognize in each other and see ourselves in each other, um, which gives us a chance or at least a choice to hold on tight to each other and to figure this thing out, or to at least at a very minimum commit, um, and some motivation to be able to do that. Because so, and having this conversation, some folks were like, yeah, absolutely, this makes total sense. I want to do that. And the small group of people we were first having a conversation with, we were like nine of us, and the more we talked and the more we reached out and the more connected and say, hey, we've got this idea, what do you think? People were like raising their hand like, yes, absolutely. And we grew to 53 that all came together to try to make this happen, and all kinds of different ideas and different connections, and so we were able to kind of turn outward to the communities that are spread literally far and wide, and tap on the shoulders of folks who were known to us and some folks that were unknown to us, to ask people to come and share what it is that they had to share about the impact of this current time, and so voila, that's where we are.
Justice Concert is born.
Justice Concert is born.
Awesome. All right, one final question. What gives you hope for a more just and equitable future, even now when things seem so bleak?
It is an awesome question. I think about that because I have some days that I'm not so hopeful, and some days where I do feel really inspired and really hopeful and say, wow, there's a chance, because I think it feels like that people we keep trying.
So
Um,
perseverance, or
yeah, we keep trying.
will.
And you know, sometimes it really is just you know, I'm trying to think of like some specific examples, but probably kind of on the spot, like not able to kind of think, but yeah, I think that it gives me hope for a more just and equitable future. Well, you know, if I think about what came together over these last months in putting this particular concert together, um, that really with a certain with just an ask, uh, you know, folks with some amazing stories to tell and some amazing ways to help us to connect with what we all know, and what we're all feeling, and we may not necessarily have the words to be able to um, put together, to did come to the table and offered what it is that they had to offer. This Everybody that contribute, nobody's getting paid to do it. Tons of people showed up and gave very generously of their time, their expertise, their knowledge, their the willingness to go do homework week after week, and keep coming to the table um, to pull this off and put this together. And um, folks from all different walks of life, people from literally on the other side of the globe, like that 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 just felt called or compelled, just at the invitation, which wasn't particularly sophisticated and well timed, and you know, having all the things that there were, but we just said, hey, whatever the space is that we have, whatever it is that you're willing to offer, we were definitely going to make space to be able to make it possible for people to offer it, and so they did, and so we got this thing that took shape, um, and so that alone is a hopeful thing, that if so many different folks can come together just um, have, just on an ask, you know, and an idea that was, you know, a really wordy, hey, I'm sitting in the front seat of my car and I was thinking, blah, blah, blah. And people just trusted and shared that's a hopeful thing. It gives me hope.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing.